Hey guys, Joshua Peterson here with Peterson Electric. Wanted to show you just a service change we worked on today. Try to talk as loud as I can. I got my earbuds off, and I don't know if something's going on with my phone with the microphone, but I've had complaints the last 6 months about that. I did get my phone worked on, but they're not sure what it is, and I don't really want to drop $1,000 yet on another phone. Anyways, got the safety glasses on. Some of you guys ask me about my safety glasses all the time. I appreciate that. Um, yes, sometimes I do wear them during the job, and sometimes the job is simple and I don't. But if it's a service call, I don't always do that. But if it's a job like this, today I worked this hot. It's a simple, small house. It's like 900 square foot ranch from 1970. Doesn't even have the egress windows you can see. The transformer or the pedestal out here, we did call to try to get a disconnect, reconnect, but we've done a lot of work in the past with Xcel here in Colorado. They have a ton of customers and they are super busy in Colorado, if you haven't known that. The month is September 2018. We did an upgrade on this. He didn't really realize there was stuff going on in the meter, but the meter was starting to melt down from the lugs. Don't know if anybody was doing anything in the garage welding or whatever. It was only 100 amp service. Then we upgraded the panel. We did have to dig this out down below. Code states that, and I could look that up for you, but I think it's around 300.5. It talks about slip sleeve 18 inches below to protect your PVC. We had to pull out that old IMC and went ahead and got in our slip sleeve there. This is the new bypass lever meter. I know I've talked about in the other videos in case somebody else sees the video. That's required pretty much in all the areas of utilities I do. I did pull a permit on this job. I always pull a permit on my utility jobs like this. As you can see, the ground definitely sank. We went ahead and put in 4 things of dirt here to build that up. I'm sorry about that traffic, it's horrible. But as you can see, the panel was 18 inches higher and so was the meter. And it was a lot smaller compared to this one. But we were able to cut everything down and lower it, which we had to because one of these lines had melted right through here. This was hot. We went ahead and put it all back in hot and pulled it out hot, and we were just real careful, used our gloves and glasses. As far as this goes right here, again, like I tell you, 250, I think it's 94, or it could be 93, but your inter-system bonding bridge bar. Again, 2 ground rods, 250, 53 talks about that, and 250, 52 supplementary, 2 rods. Some of my cities don't require that. You might be asking me why that's out of the dirt so high. That's because they're going to backfill a bunch of rock in here, so I'll tell the inspector that. But anyways, yeah, this is a 1224 bus bar panel, 125 amp main. I just fed it with some 1/0. I did knock this out larger just so I could get a little bit more nicer uniform in that KO knockout. I've got a really nice knockout set, but that's a 2.5 inch chase nipple in there. Make sure you're bushing that or you're going to regret it. And then also you have to identify your neutrals in your hots. So all you electricians out there, don't forget that. You can identify it with numbers or if you just want to twist them together, but that means you got to dissect and unwrap all of the grounding, your EGCs. And I always go ahead and do my new EGC. Some cities require it or not, but I still put a number 6 in here or number 4 based on the size of wire of 250/64. And I do my bond bushing because it's a centric concentric knockout, and I base that based upon 250/64 as well. And then the smallest of a ground rod size, I believe, is a number 8 you can do. I do a 6. Inter-system bonding bridge bar is probably a number 10, but I always do a 6 gauge because that's what I have on hand. And then make sure you get that guy put in. So yeah, and also don't forget to tighten up these 2 lugs. They come factory, but if you're popping that breaker in, make sure that's tight with your 7/16 nut driver, actually 3/8 nut driver, I believe. And then don't forget your deox on here as well, and that's really important. But other than that, last thing we got to do is label the panel. So another good job. Oh, here's my wife. I never get to show her. She never wants to be on video. Say hi, Alicia. Yep, that's about all she says. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us. Hopefully it'll help you out on how we do a install on that, and there's a lot of codes that pertain to that. We did ground our cold water and our gas line in the basement, and cold water is in 250-53, I believe, is a primary. I'm kind of throwing out a few codes there, but I know it's in that chapter right there. I don't have my book on me right now. And I know you also got a bond, at least in this city, because we have a CSST pipe, a yellow pipe on that gas furnace. We went ahead and choked that too on the way out to that cold water, and that's 250-104C. We probably didn't have to do that because the code does state that there's an exception there, that if you have an EGC ground on the conductor going to the furnace, which we do, you don't need it. But I believe you should do it anyways, just because it's another piping that is there, and some of my cities are requiring that. Keep in mind, if you do an 8 gauge on your ground because you want to stump the inspector, you better protect it with a piece of PVC conduit, because if you do EMT or flex, any kind of metal, you got to choke it on both sides with a special connector. And then also anything under number 6, you have to protect from physical damage. I think it's a joke personally, because what physical damage are you really going to get? A weed whacker? But yeah, and the other thing is that you have to have a Schedule 80 here, and you better put a bushing on the bottom of that, or coupling, because that green stripe shows us it's a Schedule 80. I even asked the inspector, I said, it's kind of ridiculous, what are you going to do, hit it with a shovel or tractor in the backyard back here? And he says, well, you never know. So again, just follow the book on that. If you don't know what you're doing on this in the book, don't do it. Have a good day.